So this is Louis, and I decided to upload this hopefully brief video where I talk about this terror attack that happened in Manhattan yesterday. It's not something that stands out in terms of the lethality of it. 8 people died, and I think it was like a dozen or so were injured. So this is not anything extraordinary in terms of a terror attack. It is notable that the person used a truck, just like we're accustomed to in Europe. You know, if you see in Europe, there's a lot of truck attacks. Well, now you're seeing it here in the United States and in very diverse New York City. So there's a lot to actually unpack here, as it's said. But for right now, I'm just going to keep this unscripted commentary simple, because this is something that I felt a very strong impulse to talk about now. Because one of the things that is irritating to me is the pure cynical machinations that you will see from the press and from politicians. There is a distinct difference between the Islamist apologetics that you will see from progressives and the Islamist apologetics that you will see from the press or typically Democratic, but not exclusively, politicians. It's a difference between what is advantageous for you and what is ideological. Obviously, with progressives, the Islamist apologetics are ideological. It's the whole thing with the progressive stack and intersectionality and all of that. That's why progressives apologize for Islamism and Islamic terror attacks. That's why they constantly, just naturally, it's just a reflex, they will engage in apologetics for Islamism. The press and politicians engage in apologetics for Islamism for the sake of political expedience. I do not believe that it is a coincidence that everyone is suddenly not using the phrase terror attack and everyone is saying incident. I heard Andrew Cuomo say incident. I heard Bill de Blasio say incident. I've heard members of the press say incident. It's not coincidental that I hear all these people saying the word incident instead of terror attack. That is language games. Those are obfuscation tactics for the sake of political expedience, and I can't stand it. It is insufferable when I see it happening. Because when you talk about terrorism, it has a distinct definition, which for the sake of this commentary not being fucking 40 minutes long, we're not even going to get into it, but my point is that I can't stand the obfuscation, I can't stand the apologetics, I can't stand listening to actors who I know are not really engaged, they don't really care, it's just, okay, I've taken a position on diversity, I've taken a position on Muslims, every Muslim is currently running in fear of a fucking, a white man wearing a MAGA hat that's going to run them down in their pickup truck, their fucking nondescript Chevy or Ford F-150, they're going to get run down by those kind of people. That's the narrative I've embraced, and now I'm just trying to weave my way around retaining that to be true in the minds of the people that I want to believe it, and to not actually engage with the people that are looking to destroy that narrative and replace it one that is actually, in this case, closer to the truth. The truth being that this is yet another Muslim that has been brought into this nation, imported as an issue, and is engaging in predictable ways. This is predictable. This is something we have seen throughout Europe, especially in the UK. They've had a problem with this. This is predictable. Not for Hindus, not for Buddhists, not for Christians, not for Sikhs, but for Muslims. This is predictable. There's more to it, obviously, than what I'm laying out here that I want to get into, because I think that it is worth trying to go through this bit by bit to lay out, at least if you want to be polite, a way to persuade progressives or a means to trap them. Because if you're like me and you get on Twitter and you're passionate and you're upset, then obviously you're just going to be abrasive and there's no means of entrapping or persuading the opposition. The way to win this argument, in my opinion, is to very slowly and methodically lay out what the issue is and to engage with the apologetics and allow it to fall into your trap. That is how you win this argument, in my opinion. And I hope that I have the time and I have the incentive to do that video, and I might charge patrons for that. I can't say when it's going to come out, obviously, or if it's ever going to happen at all, but I think I'm going to do that video because I think it's worthwhile to engage in, because this is something that is not going to go away, and I think it's necessary to take preemptive steps to prevent these kind of attacks in the future, because I know that the current talking point is, well, what about Las Vegas? Now, obviously, for those of us that have engaged in, with these people and engaged in those kind of talking points, whatabouterism, as it's said, is not an argument. It doesn't matter what happened in Las Vegas. We're not talking about Las Vegas. We're talking about what just happened in Manhattan. Two different events. One was not a terror attack. And the big thing that's missing, and I'll go into it when I do the video, is motive. We don't know why the fucking guy in Las Vegas shot all those people. We don't know. That is the worst mass shooting in the United States, but as far as I remember, the second worst was a terror attack mislabeled as a mass shooting, because it absolutely was a fucking terror attack. And that's going to be one of the events I'm going to want to engage in, because I did expect from the Pulse shooting for things to somewhat change, and I don't think they did at all. So maybe I'll get into it then when I do talk about it. But for right now, the core issue around this topic is the fact that you can play all the language games that you want to, Bill de Blasio, Andrew Cuomo, all the rest, but it's very easy to recognize what you're doing. It's very easy to recognize the fact that the whole bullshit about New York being stronger than ever, us gaining muscle mass by every fucking terror attack, and all the rest. Man, I'm trying to bulk up personally. I actually don't have enough muscle mass. Maybe you can hope for another 9/11. That way I can bulk up some more. Because apparently, Andrew Cuomo, terror attacks make us stronger. I don't even want to really get into this, because then I'm just going to start screaming. But the apologetics and the obfuscation games that I've seen from this particular attack, again, despite it's not like another 9/11. It's 8 people that died and a dozen or so that got injured. Obviously, it's a tragedy that they died and everything else, but the thing is that this is not something that is crazy. This is not another 9/11. But the thing is that the politicians are overreacting so badly that you have Jake Tapper, who's a fucking journo, going on to say like how beautiful hearing the phrase Allahu Akbar is right before he introduces James Clapper, who's a piece of shit liar, as you've heard me talk about before. Like, it's a disgusting thing, and I hope to play that clip if I do the video, because it's unbelievable to watch what he says. And it is apologetics. It is Islamist apologetics, not apologetics for people in pure political expedience, because it is that, but it is engaging in Islamist apologetics for political expedience. It is disgusting. It's disgusting and indefensible. But it's not even the worst. Like, Chuck Schumer just emptying every fucking empty thought that him and his fucking PR team came up with on Twitter. Every ridiculous fucking thing he could come up with. Oh man, the NYPD cleanup crews are so brave. They're so brave. Oh, I love the NYPD when they're out there mopping up the fucking blood and bodies. So brave. It's like, it's just platitudes. It's just empty fucking obfuscation and apologetics. For what? Islamism. Why? Political expedience, because it goes against the narrative you want to create. That's why you're doing it. And Andrew Cuomo being, I would say so far, it's been only a day, so far, he's the worst. Andrew Cuomo is the absolute fucking worst. He took a terror attack and changed it into a positive. He literally said that New Yorkers gain. We gain. It is a positive thing to have happen that we're having terror attacks in this state. Only from a purely cynical politician will you ever hear something that grotesque. That terror attacks are a good thing. It's a good thing for New Yorkers to fucking die at the hands of Islamist terrorists. That's a good thing. We're just importing them by the thousands. That's just a great thing. They're here to kill us all. I'm here bulking up because people's blood are on the streets. I can't wait. I'm going to say this now, okay? In the next election, if Andrew Cuomo, because I didn't vote for him last time because I fucking hate him, but I'm telling you something. I voted for Zephyr Teachout, who's kind of a lunatic progressive, but still better than Cuomo. Better than fucking Cuomo. And I'll tell you what, next time around, next time around, Andrew Cuomo, if there is a rational Republican up for election, I'm going to fucking vote for him. I'm going to fucking vote for him. Even if he's a corporatist like you, I'll vote for him because I'm fucking sick of you. I cannot stand the fact every single day that you are the governor of this state. You are a wholly corrupt piece of goddamn shit that dreams beyond everything else to just have one chance at the presidency. You just want one chance to run for president because you are completely out of your mind in delusions of grandeur. You think everyone would want you to see you as president, but everyone in this state, everyone outside of a narrow group of people fucking hate you. Everyone fucking hates you. Progressives fucking hate you. Centrists fucking hate you. Independents fucking hate you. Democrats in general don't like you. And Republicans and conservatives and libertarians hate your fucking guts. No one likes you, Andrew Cuomo. Go away forever. You are a goddamn piece of shit and an embarrassment to the state, considering who your father was, an actual decent politician. Whether you agree with his policies or not, he was a decent politician. You're not. You are a wholly empty, cynical, hollowed-out piece of corporatist shit. New York State is weaker and more afraid every day that passes that you fail to engage in the fact that we have imported a problem into this state. There's a reason why Buffalo has a bunch of circular bullards that have been installed all around their major fucking infrastructure in Buffalo. It's because of Muslims, not because of Sikhs or fucking Hindus or Buddhists or Christians or fucking anybody else. Muslims. That's the fucking problem. That's who's causing the terrorism. That's who's driving trucks into shit, as we can obviously see in fucking Manhattan. One of the worst governors in the entire country. I want somebody to find me a worse one because I cannot begin to tell you how much I can't stand Plastic Andrew Cuomo. Plastic Andy. God damn, you are a hollowed out piece of shit. I do have the incentive to do a full video on this because this has been one of the worst I've ever seen. Not in terms of the attack, but literally just everyone is obfuscating. Everyone is running to just a ridiculous length to try to hide from this fucking issue. You know, and the best shit you're going to get is, well, what about fucking Las Vegas? And it's like, well, what about it? We don't even know why the fucking guy did it. You're trying to tell me that that's somehow the equivalent to what just happened in Manhattan where the guy's screaming at the top of his lungs, Allahu Akbar? Like there's any fucking mystery why he did it? And that's the best you're going to get in this instance. It's pathetic. So, yes, this is just a fucking clusterfuck as I've ever seen it. You know, I had to get off Twitter. I was so angry. I was like, God, this is just insufferable. Oh, we're talking about... I won't even get into it. Anyone that praises George W. Bush, outside of saying just, like, generally nice things about, yeah, he was in a bad situation during 9/11, or I did like the way that he spoke, he seemed pretty plain-spoken, blah, blah, shit like that. You know, if you want to praise this fucking piece of shit, by all means do it, but you have to understand that you're attaching yourself to one of the most incompetent, corrupt administrations this country's ever fucking had. And I know a lot of conservatives that fucking hate George W. Bush. So I'm not even going to qualify this, okay? George W. Bush was a fucking incompetent at best and criminal at worst. Fuck his administration. Fuck George W. Bush and every member of that administration, including Colin Powell, who sold out his own honor for the sake of political convenience, or expedience rather. Fuck George W. Bush, fuck his administration, and fuck anyone that says that George W. Bush is in any way like a decent fucking politician. He got us into 2 goddamn wars that exploded into 7 or so under Obama, and nothing has been accomplished other than thousands of Americans were dead, were murdered, were killed in combat, and for fucking what? So that defense contractors can get rich? That seems to be the only fucking result of these wars. God, alright, I'm just gonna end this video. Thanks for listening.